Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Great to see you here this morning in the starting session of the 12th International Conference. I first of all wish to thank IUS, Dr. Ali Usman, Rector and administration for hosting us. I want to thank also Idu, our friend and of course our collaborator in this initiative. Idu was also a founding member of the ILN back in 2011. Many of you seeing after again another conference, particularly welcome Dr. Mazen for joining us. I know you're very, very busy with your current role and extremely grateful that you manage your time. I'm also thankful to all the partner organization and particularly Atlas Network, which has helped in sponsoring the conference here. Also, again, our international delegates as well as local participants. Welcome again. So in my presentation, first of all, I wanted to keep Mazen's presentation in the end. We wanted to save the best for the last. But you have to bear with me. This presentation is probably not that exciting as Mazen's, coming from very, I think, dynamic leadership point of view. What I'm going to talk mostly about the journey of the organization itself, Islam and Liberty Network, the work we are doing, and why it matters, and what we hope to achieve in the future, and how we are linking with the current debates here. Let me just go on. I want to introduce you to someone. His name is there, Dr. Ali Hassaniya. Dr. Ali Hassaniya is an assistant professor at Department of Quran and Hadith in Tehran, in Iran. And he came to one of our conferences and he found the word liberty and Islam quite intriguing, particularly coming from Iran, where there are a lot of restrictions on the freedom of expression, and the state, of course, controls the narrative. He found that, okay, this is, when you combine the word Islam and liberty, maybe this opens up new avenues of research. And then he started his own research. He engaged his students, started supervising more researchers talking about Islam and liberty, in particular in Iranian's context, and has been busy. He's spoken at various conferences we have hosted in the past. We have many participants in our conferences and workshops who have joined us and taken similar ideas and continued in their research. And so I just wanted to sort of give you the bigger picture here. When we talk about Islam and liberty, there are two problems at hand. First of all, when you look at this problem from a Western point of view, unfortunately and wrongly, Islam is associated with violence, with coercion, with extremism. And obviously this creates tensions for Muslim communities in the West, but also it paints Islam in particularly a negative picture. Right? And then the second part of this puzzle and second part of this problem is in the Muslim majority countries. There are 57 or 56 countries, and most of these countries refer to Islam not just as a religion, but also as a reference point for constitution, for public policy, and so therefore the understanding of Islam in the intellectuals, in the politicians, and in the leaders have a direct bearing on the systems in which these countries operate. And it's not, I think I'm not making a new revelation here when I mention that unfortunately most of these countries live, but the population live under conditions of extreme poverty, as well as authoritarian regime. I mean, we just heard how Syria is transforming, and we wish all the best with the change, with the positive change with people like Mazen are bringing there. Conflict. And if you look at any indices, I'm not going to mention indices. It's easy to find Fraser Institute, Heritage Institute. Comparatively, you will find, for instance, one. If you look at refugees, if you look at refugees population in the world, 80 to 90% of refugee population in the world either are coming from Muslim countries or are based in Muslim countries. So why is that? Of course, many of us want to blame other countries. And it's easy always to blame other countries. And I'm not denying that there are, these games and these conspiracies and these interventions are happening. I think we can't deny that. But I've seen that we do not look in the institutions and we do not look at the debates, what is happening within our own countries. And that's why I think this work, which we have been doing under Islam and Liberty Network, becomes important. Understanding liberty from a universal point of view, but also internalizing it and also bringing it as our own value system. And that has been what ILN work is all about. So back in Istanbul in 2011, many of the founding members, including Özlem, we were there, and of course Mustafa Acar and many are, and Edu I mentioned, Admir, I see you here. We got together discussing the idea of, you see some problems in the Muslim world broadly defined, and we thought, okay, maybe there is a hypothesis that we lack certain freedoms in these societies. The idea of a free society was discussed. And again, there could be agreements and disagreements, but we thought our role should be an intellectual role, bringing these ideas through academic discussion, through policy discussion, into mainframe and sort of mainstream it through the media. Many of these ideas, when we talk about economic freedom, for instance, Mazen talked about free markets or liberal democracy, religious freedom. Unfortunately, there is a perception that these ideas are coming from particular cultures, and therefore they are not universally applicable. And there is a resistance in the intelligentsia within the Muslim countries talking about these ideas. And yes, we can blame international political systems for a lot of injustice in the world which is happening. That's right. But then our work is talking more in terms of ideas and policies. So through these research, through this discourse, we are doing work because we believe that ideas matter. One important book that was published based on the presentations and speeches made in our conferences was Islamic Foundations of a Free Society back in 2016. Edited by Dr. Noel Harmouzi, our good friend from Morocco, and late Linda Whetstone. And in this book, this is available free of charge as PDF from different sources, including our website and also IEA website. These ideas were discussed in greater details. Now, in this table here, I am mentioning two ideal types. These are, of course, hypothetical manifestations of an unfree and free society. I'm not saying that anywhere in the world a society is completely unfree or a society is free, right? So these are two extremes. And all the countries live somewhere on the spectrum. But I think it's not easy, it's not difficult to establish that all of us want to be in a society which is closer to a free society. And I hope that there is no disagreement on that. Towards equality, towards more democracy, towards more free markets, religious freedom, diversity, and limited government with low tax rates. This is the direction that we want to take, and this is the direction we want to take the debate to. And then in the last few years, based on the framework which we developed, many of these books were published. For instance, we did a conference back in Malaysia, which was on democratic transitions in the Muslim world. And then a couple of years later, we did a conference in Islamabad, which was building an Islamic case on open markets. And finally, another conference in Indonesia was held, which was talking about Islamic case for religious freedom. So all the text of papers are available on the website. Again, one may see that these are maybe academic discussions, but this is how the ideas are ultimately linked with policies. First of all, we have to change the debate, the narrative within the universities, within the think tanks, and only then we can expect the policies to change. Some snapshots from our conferences in the last few years, which we have organized. There was one online conference, but except that, we have mostly organized these events in different capitals of the world: Malaysia, Indonesia, Morocco, Turkey, Pakistan, and other countries which I probably missed here. So, and these ideas have been developed, and so these exchanges are very important to develop these ideas. So I want to also give you another perspective. So one is like exchanges like this, but then we also do workshops. We have done various workshops in countries such as Iran. Here you can see a younger me some years back. I am in Qum. Qum is the heart of religious establishment in Iran. And I am presenting the copy of that book which you just saw. We were in Qum, and we organized this like a 3-day summer workshop in which we engaged researchers, scholars from Iran and from the region, talking about similar ideas. Now, obviously, there are challenges within each country, and including Iran is no exception. But you will be surprised that we've received quite well in terms of these ideas. 2019, this was in Tunisia. Again, a workshop. On the right side, you are seeing Amul Azouz. She is a former parliament member of Tunisia, and she played an important role in introducing the religious freedom clause in the new constitution after the revolution. She spoke at one of our conferences and remained an active part of our network. And many of these people then became a part of the work we have been doing. This is again in Pakistan, in workshop which we did. This is in Afghanistan. This is some years back. Islam and liberalism discourse. And our friend Khalid Ramizi had been hosting those discussions. Not anymore, unfortunately. The new regime, Taliban regime, is obviously not welcoming these kind of discussions. And last year, we were in Syria. We held a workshop there with many aspiring civil society members and brought similar ideas to the table. Now, the question is, what are the opportunities? Each of these countries which I've mentioned, think of Syria, think of Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Each of them present a challenge, a unique challenge, but also it presents opportunity of working and engaging with the young intellectuals, with researchers, with think tanks that we are doing. Through the discussion on these key pillars of freedom: religious freedom, political freedom, and economic freedom. I am very clear that, again, this is not just a classical liberal framework. This is not just classical liberal philosophy. If you look at the work of Imam Ghazali, or Imam Shatibi before Imam Ghazali, in let's say 15th, 14th century, Imam Shatibi. this very important framework was introduced by the name of Maqasid Sharia. Now, in that frame of Maqasid Sharia, there are 5 protections of 5 fundamental rights which are defined. This is the protection of life, protection of property, protection of religion, protection of aql, and protection of family. 5 fundamental freedoms, which to my mind is a perfect framework for defining what is individual freedom. How do we protect individual freedom, and what aspects of state policy do we need to ensure the protections and human dignity? As an endorsement, I'm very proud to share. This is Haji Yahya Khalil Stako. He is currently the chairman of Nahdlatul Ulama in Indonesia, which is the world's largest Muslim organization. And I'm happy to see he spoke at one of our conferences, and he has this to say about the work we have been doing. So I hope that this conference will play an important role in advancing the cause, in advancing the work we are doing. And I invite all of you to take active part in our programs. And this is how we structure our program. Educate. This is Idrak. It's like a platform, a blog, articles that we are publishing very regularly. So you're welcome to contribute to Idrak. Enable. This is the workshop that I mentioned. We also do online workshops, in-person workshops, engagement through ILN podcasts and webinars. You'll see a lot of the material on our YouTube channel, and also on Podbeans. You will see podcasts there, and you can download. And finally, exchanges like these happen where we talk, within the community, and engage in critical debate. So in next 2 days, we hope that we will involve in a critical discourse about a lot of issues which we have been highlighting: economic freedom, Islamophobia, democracy, and a lot. I'm looking forward to the discourse, and thank you again for organizing, and thank you again for hosting us here.